Hello everyone, my name is Ibrahim Ayomide. Welcome back to Green Illustrations family. What we do here is it's all about creative design. If you are interested in creative designs and how they are being made, this is the right channel for you. Alright, please do like, share and subscribe if you find any content on this channel valuable to you. And please turn on the notification icon if you want to get a notification whenever we drop a content on this channel. Alright, so have you heard of TinkerCAD before? Well, TinkerCAD is an Autodesk web application for 3D modeling. It's like a soft landing into what 3D modeling is all about. So this application has a very easy user interface, very simple user interface. I believe even children can understand the concept of 3D modeling using this web application. So it's a free tool. You don't have to subscribe to anything. It's just online there. All you need to do to have access to this web application is just to create an Autodesk account, and then you write on there. This is TinkerCAD, right? TinkerCAD is just about 3D modeling. It's a very fun tool, and then I'll be quickly taking you through a tour of the application interface, and then I'll be showing you also some sample models that we've created on the application. The application is very fun to use. You can learn it. Anyone can learn, even the kids. Fantastic for them as well. All right, I'll make sure I take it very slow, and then the interface is going to be well explained, and then we'll go ahead. It's a tool that also gives you access to also collaborate. So if you have a design concept in mind that you also need somebody to jump on to add more details to it, you can also collaborate using this application. It's very simple, right? All right, if you are interested in the creative exercise, let's get to it. All right, everyone, how you guys doing today? All right, let's get started. So very quickly, I would like to take you through what TinkerCAD is all about. This is the landing page for TinkerCAD. Immediately you go to your browser using any of the browser application you might be using on your devices, either on the Mac device or on the Windows operating system. You always have your browser. You go to the browser and then you type in tinkercad.com, and then using this link, immediately you type tinkercad.com, www.tinkercad.com. It takes you down here, and then you get to the landing page for TinkerCAD. You get to see this video playing here at the center. You also get to practice using any of the, you get access to see who actually uses TinkerCAD. So we have the video, and then you can see TinkerCAD is a free web application for 3D designs, electronic design, coding, and it's trusted by over 50 million people around the world. So this is not just here, it's not new. We have people who are already in it already, who are already doing and using TinkerCAD already. So it's free for everyone. You can see that. All I want you to do here is to create an account. If you don't have one already, all you need to do is to click on sign up. But if you have an account, you just click on sign in. So you can create an educator's account here or a student account. If you have a school, you can actually do all this. But what I want you to go to is just create a personal account. Since you are just learning on your own time, in your own space, create a personal account. When you click on create a personal account, it asks you, what email are you trying to use? Do you have a Google email that you are trying to use, or you have an Apple account that you are trying to sign in? You can also use other Microsoft account or Facebook account if you have all these available. Or you can just use a custom email address. Probably you have a company email that you like to use. You can also use that. So the general one, I think most of us who subscribe for, you can be our Gmail. Immediately click on Gmail, it loads up. So because I already have TinkerCAD account, you can see the design that I've worked on already loading up immediately. So immediately I click on use my Autodesk account, it goes into my drive to search to see what have been made using TinkerCAD. You can see that TinkerCAD is a very simple 3D modeling application, yet it gives you the basics of what 3D modeling is all about, but it also helps you to develop complex 3D model just using the basic 3D knowledge that you have. So like I said, this application gives you like a soft landing into what TinkerCAD is all about. Can you see that? This gives you like a soft landing into what 3D modeling is all about and how you even operate in a 3D workspace. So it gives you the fundamentals you need to cope, to use and to enjoy how the 3D environment actually works. You can see this design this complex design that we have here is as a result of a programming that have been done using the application and setting some variables in these settings here using this code block. And the final result of everything that has been created is this application. And they were being what you can see, we have a very slow animation of the application coming on. Can you see that? It's reading the code one line after the other. You can see that it's reading the code one line after the other to give us the final result, right? Can you see that? It's reading the code one line after the other. It's repeating the loop that have been set here until it is completed. Immediately it is completed, it shows us our final result for this design. But you can see that apart from creating normal basic 3D models that we already have open on our device, you can see that using the knowledge of what programming, you can also set parameters in your code blocks that can help you to even create more complex 3D models that can work, that are very, very usable. These are models that are complex, that cannot be achieved just with normal modeling, or it can be achieved, but it's going to be much more difficult compared to using our model. You can see the final end product here. You can see that isn't this creative? Isn't this creative? You can see this is a very creative design. Can you see this? A very creative design using what? Leveraging on the power of what? TinkerCAD. So let's go to the basics. Let's go back to the basics. Like I said, if you understand the fundamentals of how 3D designs work, you get to what? Work on this workspace with ease, right? These are some of the designs that have been done using our Fusion 360. You can see some simple 3D designs that have been created already. We have the likes of this aircraft design, and then we also have this is an assignment from a student, and they actually, as I told them to go home and go and design something for me. Design something, anything you can see around you at home. Just design something, and somebody pick up an Infinix charger back home, and then both of them work on it. Because they are brothers and sisters, they were able to design this on their own. And you can see that this is actually very creative as well. We also have, I'll close each tab as I open them. Let me close that. We also have this design as well. This is actually a class assignment from summer bootcamp training. So you can see this is a, what should I call it? The Eiffel Tower, right? So created using different 3D models. Very simple and very simple and very creative approach, using it to create our 3D model. You can see we are basically going through the model, and you can see that this is very creative. This is actually usable. So Fusion TinkerCAD works very creatively, just basic tool, and then immediately you understand the concept of designs. You can create even fantastic models from this. We have from that, we have the likes of other creative 3D models. The likes of this one in class. This is a class assignment as well. It's from the explanation of how to model. This is a table in the office here. We just create a 3D model of this table, and then we label it. We have the table surface. Immediately I hover on all this text and I click once, you get the name. The first drawer, the second drawer, you can see that, and then we also have the drawer handles. And you can see that this is a very simple design, yet very creatively done, right? Can you see that? So this is another design that we have there. All right, let's go forward again. You can see that this is a very simple design, a stool design. So this is a stool design, very simple, create using our using our different basic shapes to come up with this. So this is also a very simple creative design. We also have other ones in this section. This is also an assignment. Go home and design something creative on your own time. And we also have a student that actually came up with this. This is very simple and very fantastic. Can you see this? This is a very simple design. I think this is from a product design, the Kellogg, I think it's something, Cocoa Pops pack. You understand? So the person was able to create just a very simple design from it. Not completed, but at least I appreciate a student being creative enough to work around this as a model. I think TinkerCAD has this electronic design aspect as well. We can create electronic design from here as well. We can create electronic design from what we see here as well. So I'll click on this guy. I want to remove this guy, hide notification. All right, So we have different things that I can be done, but I'll go back again into my basic software. I'll go back to the home panel where we have all our designs again, and you can see scrolling through all the designs that we have already. But because you are just creating a new account from your own end, you won't see any design under your designs here. You just see probably the default design from TinkerCAD. So what I want us to do, you can see that we have one aspect for 3D model, and then we have another aspect for what? Circuits, and then we have aspect for what? The code blocks, which was used to create this creative design. So very quickly, I just want to take you through a what? I want to take you through a very tour of the workspace. Okay, this is the last part that is loading up. This is the last design that is loading up here. You can see this. This is what? This is also another creative design that was being created using what? TinkerCAD. You can see this very simple design. Are you with me? All right, so let's quickly go back into the main workspace, which is this, and then you can see we have all these 3 aspects. All I need you to do is what? Click on what? New. Then you click on new. What new design are you trying to create? I'm trying to create new 3D designs, and then it takes me into the workspace for what? 3D designs. I'll quickly take you through the UI of the TinkerCAD workspace. It's all about very simple workspace. You won't even believe an interface such as simple as that can actually give you a very complex and creative designs. So you can see this is all we have to work with on 3D designs on TinkerCAD. So you can see by default TinkerCAD will give your design a name. To change name, all I need to do is just to click on this icon, and then I can title this Intro to TinkerCAD Modeling. Right? So immediately I'm done, I click out. You can see that the name of this project has been done. After that, on that same line, you can see where we have blocks. If I go to blocks, I get to create block design as if I'm working with my bricks, right? I can start a block design from here, but that's not what I want to go into. We have another one called the what? Working with bricks, like as if you are doing your Lego design. You also have that one here. Instead of having a live virtual Lego, you can actually have a virtual one here where you are able to also create your designs creatively. Are you with me? So we can also do all those from here. Designs can be made here as well. All right, so you can see that we have the brick, we have what's this called? We have the blocks, and then we have the bricks. Yes, the one next to it is where we actually add people. If you are looking at collaborating with someone on this particular project, immediately I click on this, it's checking existing shared link. So I can collaborate by what? Generating a link for my design and then sharing the same link with somebody. Immediately I generate a link, I can copy this link and then share the link of this project with the person I want to collaborate with. Immediately the person gets this link, he can click on it and then see exactly what I'm working on, and then provide their own input where necessary. Are you with me? After that, we have the last part on that list where we have the account management. When I click on this part, you see my Autodesk account profile here. That is what I have here. Can you see my avatar currently showing here? And then you can see from there, I also have the aspect of going back into my designs, or what? Basic 3D designs. Can you see that? These 3D aspects. All these 3D aspects are for what? 3D designs. So we are going back to our major one, which is what? The 3D designs. Under these 3D designs, we have the next part from here. The first icon here that is grayed out. It's grayed out because there's no object on the workspace already. The first one that we have there is copy command. We have the next one called the word paste command. We have the next one called the word duplicate command. We have the next one called the delete command. We have the undo and then the redo command. You can see we have most of them are grayed out because we don't have any object on the work plane. Now let's talk about the work plane. This is the work plane here on our view here. Immediately I distort my view. Immediately I have my work plane upside down. It adjusts according to my view cube here. So if I decide I want to view my design from the top, I can click on top. If I want to view my design from the left, I can click on left. Immediately I know that I want to view my design from front, I can click on front, and then my work plane will adjust accordingly. Can you see that? Immediately I click on the edge of the view cube, it brings out the view for that. But immediately I've distorted my work plane, immediately I want to restore back to default, I need to click on this home icon here. Immediately I click on this home icon, it restores back to what? Default. Are you with me? After that, we have the plus icon, we have the what? Minus icon. All this can be done using your what? Scroll wheel on your mouse, right? On your mouse, you can actually scroll in to zoom in, and then you can scroll out to what? To zoom out. And then we have two types of views. We have the perspective view, and then the orthographic view. We are currently on the perspective view, but immediately I over on this last icon here, showing me that was switched to what? Flat view, also known as what? Orthographic view. So if I go ahead to click on what? View as orthographic, what is the difference between perspective and orthographic view? Perspective view is the way we see the world. It's the way you and I we see with our eyes, right? How do I mean? Immediately we try to look outside in the open space, we see that the object in front of us appears bigger compared to the object far behind. Are you with me? Object right in front of us is seen what? Bigger compared to the object behind it, far behind it. So they are seen smaller, right? So perspective view is the way you and I see the world. It's the same thing. We also have that type of view inside this TinkerCAD here. And then the orthographic view is a flat view. Every object looks the same. To give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I'm going to bring 3D objects into this workspace of the same sizes. I'm not going to adjust the sizes of this object. I'll just place them at a distance apart. And then all I need to do is select one of the objects and fit to view. When I fit to view, I want to adjust my view cube. Can you see this? I want to adjust my view a little bit. Now let's look at this model. Do you know that these objects that we have here, they are actually of the same sizes? But because we are on perspective view, whenever I adjust my view, you can see that the object in front looks bigger. Meanwhile, the same object is in the middle, and then the same object is far behind, the same size and the same specification. But by default, object in front looks bigger, while the object behind it looks smaller. Let me now switch back to my orthographic view, and then let's look at this design again. Let me adjust the view, and then let's look at this design from let's say from the front perspective, and I'll zoom out so that we can all have a clear view of what this thing is all about. Can you see this? On my front view, you can see these objects are relatively the same sizes. When I go back to my perspective view, you can see that it switches, it turns back to a different view. That means one object starts looking bigger according to the particular view that you have on. And if I go back to my orthographic view, they are all the same sizes. When I go back to my perspective view, they are all of different sizes. Do you get the scope? All right, let's go back to our user interface tour of the workspace. The next thing that we have here is you can see the icon that we have here is toggle note visibility. If I want to add notes to this, I can add my note, but the note that I have on my design can be visible when this object is turned on. For example, let me quickly add a note to this model that we have here. I'll go ahead and then place a note here and call this this is a box. And then immediately I do that, you can see that the note will continue to fly around my model according to my view, right? But now I don't want to see this note anymore. All I need to do is click on this icon that is here, and then it turns off all the notes that you might have placed on your design at a particular given time, right? After that, we have the next icon that is there on the list. We have the next icon here, which is show all. This show all will only work after you have used this icon here, which is hide. Immediately I decide to hide this object in the center here, I click on hide, and then you can see it goes off the workspace. The object is not deleted, it's only taken off the workspace because I click on hide. Immediately I go to this next icon that is here, which was show all. It reviews the object again. Are you with me? That's just basically what the tool is used for, right? We can get into details when we start modeling and the likes. But whenever you want to turn an object off the workspace, you select the object and then you click on what? Turn off. Can you see hide selected? When I go to hide selected, those two objects are removed from the workspace. They are not deleted. Note, they are not deleted. When I click on what? Show all, they come back to the workspace. The next one that we have there is what? Group. Why do we group shapes together? We have two types of object that we can create. We can create the first one called the what? The whole object. We can create another object called the what? The solid shape. We have 3D solid shape currently on the workspace. I'm going to add a whole object now. This object is known as a whole object. Why? Because whenever it's placed with a solid shape, and then they are both the solid shape and the whole object is being added together, that means they are being grouped together. What happens? This whole object would, this whole object will remove the portion, whatever part of the whole object is touching the solid shape will be cut out from the solid shape. Are you with me? This way I'm able to create even more complex 3D shape from my what? Basic 3D shape. So we have the group icon that groups whole object and solid object together, and then I can use the next icon beside that, which is what? Ungroup. Immediately I click on ungroup, you can see it restores back to what? Default. Now I can remove them apart, or I can even add my old object to another object on the workspace, and then select both of them again and then group them together using the tool again, and then it cuts off. It removes the portion at which it is touching on the solid shape, and then the object, a complex 3D object is being created for me. Now to undo that, I need to go back to my what? Ungroup, and then I click on ungroup, and then you can see that I can then split these two objects apart. We have the first one, which is the solid shape, and then we have the second one, which is known as the what? The whole object. All right, the next one that we have there, I've been explaining these two commands that we have here, is the what? Align to. Immediately I select these 3D solid shapes that we have here. I'll select this 3D solid shape, remove this whole object. What I want to do is to what? Align them. You can see now that I can use my align to. When I click on align to, I have all these different lines that shows up. Whenever I click on this, you can see a quick preview of what I'm trying to achieve from here. Immediately I click on this middle part, you can see a quick preview of what the end result will look like. When I click on this end, you can see what? A quick preview of what the end result is going to look like. When I click on this middle one, you can see that we have a quick preview of what this end result will look like. So I can decide to what? Align this thing to the top while aligning it as well to the what? Center. So let's do this side, and then also, so we are aligning it on this side. You can see that the alignment command works really good, right? So basically, why do we align our object? I'll scatter them again. I'll scatter two of them, and then I'll select one, and then I'll select the second one using my shift key. So I'll hold my shift key and select the second object, and then click on what? Align. When I select align command, then I want to align this object to what? Center. Can you see that they are placed at the center, and then I want to align them again to what? Center. And then this object is being placed together because they are of the same size in the first instance. So we have these two shapes. The next one that we have there is called the mirror command. When I select a particular object and I click on what? Mirror, I can mirror the object what? To this side or to this side. What happens? You can't see anything at the moment, but I will do that again using what? This 3D object that we have here. And then I'll use my mirror command, but this time I'm mirroring what? To this side. You can see that this object flips to that side. I can mirror again back to the original side. I can mirror again upward. I can mirror again to the side. You can see that we have the mirror command working perfectly well as well. Are you with me? So this is, let me have this object stalled, and then I'll have this object beside it. I'll have this next object far on this side, and then I'll select the 3D object, and then I'll use my mirror command so that we can see a clear difference of, can you see what's happening? I mirror to this side, I mirror to this side. I can mirror sideways as well, mirror sideways as well. Can you see me? So this is the way we create our different 3D model. You can see I'm mirroring the object back and forth. All right, the next one that we have here is we have the import. Import. TinkerCAD gives you access to import a 3D model that you have done already from any application. You just need to have them either 2D or 3D. You can import any of those files into what? Into what? TinkerCAD. And this TinkerCAD file must be in this 3 different format: the STL, the OBJ, and then the SVG. These are different file formats that we use. The OBJ, this is object. We have the SVG, which was scalable vector graphics, right? we have the word the STL. I don't think I currently know what this is all about, but all these different file types that we have, you can always browse them by going to a new browser and then type what is STL file type. Are you with me? STL file type, and then Google will always bring out what the STL mean. You can see what STL is all about. What is it called? Stereolithography, right? Stereolithography, right? That's what we have here, STL, and then we have the likes of that on our designs. We have the STL, we have the OBJ, which is the object, we have the word SVG, which is what the scalable vector graphics. All these different file formats can be imported into TinkerCAD. And then note, whenever you are trying to import and then the file is not coming through, look at this option here. TinkerCAD only gives you the privilege to import the maximum, at most, the file size up to what? 25 MB. So if it's bigger than this, you might have issues bringing it into your TinkerCAD workspace. Alright, let's forge ahead. We are not trying to import any object now, but I'm just showing you the tools. We can also export out of TinkerCAD. We can export to what? 3D object, the OBJ, the STL, the GLTF, right? Or the SVG itself, right? Or even a 3D printer. We can select the 3D printer we are trying to print our 3D model on. If we have a printer in mind, I'll select the printer, and then automatically it prepares my design. Prepares my design for extraction. Whatever file that is extracted from this my TinkerCAD here, immediately I put this into the 3D printer. It comes out beautifully, and then you can have your design from concept to reality, right? You can do all that using this option that we have here. I can also send to. If I want to send my design to somebody, I can actually save it as a JPEG file by clicking on this icon here, picture of your design. I can click on this icon to have my JPEG file, and then you can see me making mistake of saying Fusion 360, Fusion 360, Fusion 360 all this while, which is another interesting application that I use often, right? I do a lot of training on Fusion 360. We have been going to schools a lot, so we have Fusion 360 training. That's why I'm shouting Fusion 360. I've been used to this application. So we can also take our design from TinkerCAD directly to Fusion 360 for more detailed modeling, right? So more detailed design of our current concept. So we can take that into Fusion 360 to finesse our design to get it to give it more details, right? And then we can also share it into different 3D communities from TinkerCAD. These are different communities you can share your design in to get to get ideas. They can give you more ideas, and then they can even give you more design directions. You understand? They can give you some creative critique of your design that in a way that can help you to shape your career in 3D modeling and help you to make better decisions when making your 3D designs. We also have, that is basically the 3 options that we have for send to. And then you can see we have, after that, we have the view cube, which we have spoken about already. We have another part called the work plane. The work plane tool helps you to put work plane on our design, on our Fusion 360. Oh my god, why am I saying Fusion 360 again? Damn. All right, on our TinkerCAD, right? On our TinkerCAD, we can create our design on work planes. That's where we create our design. You can see that the work plane is currently placed here. It's currently placed here. If I click on home view, we restore back to the default. You can see work plane. This is the current workspace that we have. But Fusion 360, oh my god. Wow, am I making this mistake on the live video? All right, so you can see that TinkerCAD is very creative. To know that even having created our 3D model here on TinkerCAD, we can actually go ahead again to we can actually go ahead again to place our design on place our design back to to space. We can decide to place our design back to space. I want to create a more creative design here. Do you know what I need to do? You guys come down, you guys come down, right? I want to create a more creative design. All I need to do is add another plane. I can use this first icon that we have here, which is the work plane tool. I place another work plane on top here. and then I can create more fantastic 3D model from here. Back to home view. Now I can create a 3D model of a let's add a sphere here. A cylinder right here, and then I click on cylinder, and then I can increase the height a little bit, and then I click on restore back to my default view, and then you can see that I've been able to place a cylinder right on top of this object here using my work plane tool. The next one that I have there is the ruler tool. This ruler tool helps you to measure. Immediately I place my ruler tool on the workspace, every dimension is being given. Right now I can go ahead to adjust each dimension as I want them to be. Are you with me? So we have this dimension to this, that's the ruler tool. We are going to be using this a lot whenever we start modeling, right? I'm going to take on a very simple project after explaining the workspace. We also have another one called the note tool, which we have already used already, right? Now, for every object you place on the workspace, I can select everything and then go ahead to click on delete key, and then I'm back to default. I can select my ruler. On my ruler there is always this X icon. Can you see my X icon here, dismiss ruler? Then I can click on that to remove that as well, and go back to my own view. Now to place any object on my workspace on TinkerCAD, all I need to do is to click on the object I'm trying to bring to the workspace, move my mouse to the work plane, and then I click again to paste. If I want to bring this object on the workspace, all I need to do is click on the object I'm trying to bring into the workspace, move my mouse to the workspace, and then click again to drop the object on the workspace. That's all. We have all these different objects that we can place on our workspace, and all these basic shapes helps us. They all work together to give us our creative 3D models, right? The next one that we have there, apart from the basic shapes, if I click on this drop down arrow, we have even more fantastic designs that we can get started with from here. I can go to design starters, and you can see that we even have more complex 3D objects here. Can you see that? Gift for our Christmas can be placed here on the workspace immediately without any further designs. Can you see that? We have all these basic 3D shapes that are already created for us. For what? For usage, right? We have under design starters, I can go ahead again to go to creations and characters. I can place this Lego object here on my workspace. Are you with me? I can place this Lego object here on my workspace. Come on. Okay, let's click on this guy here on my workspace. Can you see that? Place it on my workspace. Now you can see this character fit to view, and I can see its character is being placed on my workspace. All these objects, I have access to them, the likes and likes and likes and likes of them. Can you see that? We have the different tires that we can bring into our workspace to create fantastic designs. And note, all these objects were created by creators like you and I, creative designers like you and I. You are just getting started with TinkerCAD, but you can create all this fantastic design after we get started with the 3D application, right? We have all these 3D designs that we can use, the likes and likes of them that we can use on our model. You can see that we have all these different complex designs that can be created just by click and drop on our workspace. So Christmas is here, that's why I'm bringing in everything that is related to Christmas. All right, so you can see that TinkerCAD is very, 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 very robust web application that helps you to create fantastic designs using your leveraging on your creative aspect, you using your head to think about what do I want to create today, and then you go into the application and using the resources that have been provided to create even more fantastic designs on TinkerCAD. So these are different designs that we can work with. I'll go back to my basic shapes, and then you can see apart from that, apart from the basic shape that we've worked with, we can also move around our workspace, and whenever we have distort our workspace again, how do we get back to the home view? Remember this icon here, the home icon, and I click again, and then it restores back to default. Are you with me? So this is Christmas. I'm going to leave every other object here, and I'm going to remove the rest. Now there's something about navigation which I think you are going to struggle with in the first day of using this TinkerCAD. In navigation, I can go back to my view cube, click on my view cube, and then move my view cube around. You can see that I'm moving my workspace. or I can leverage on the power of my mouse and then use my right click. When I right click, I can right click and hold, I can navigate my workspace as so. You can see that I can move my workspace around to see the object, but the most useful navigation tool here is always the fit to view. Whenever I want to see what this object is all about, I go to the next icon on the list. After the home view, I go to the next icon on the which is fit to view. Whenever I click on fit to view, it zooms automatically to that object. Every zoom activity I try to perform from here will do navigate around that object that I fitted to view, right? It will navigate around that same object that I fitted to view in the first place, right? I'll zoom out again, select the Christmas tree, and then select fit to view. You can see that it zooms to that object, and then whatever zoom action that I perform from here views around the object that is being created. This is a basic tour of the workspace. One aspect I have not mentioned is where, this very important aspect. I'll take this object, let's put this object by the side here, put my gift on the left side here, and then I'll place a simple object on the workspace. For every object you place on the workspace, this object property shows up. This object properties has the first section, which is solid. I'm talking about the O object the other time. This is O. I can convert this object into a O object by clicking on O, and you can see it changes automatically into O object. What is the meaning of a whole object? Whenever I add another object, a 3D object on this workspace, if there is an O object touching a solid shape, immediately you group these two together. To see the effect of the O object, you need to group these two objects together. Then I'm going to select two of them and then click on my group two, and you can see that whatever portion the O object is touching on the solid shape, it cuts off that portion of the solid shape. You can see that way I'm able to create more creative 3D models. So what I want to do is delete my O object and then go back to my cylinder, and then depending on the object you have on the workspace or selected on the workspace, you have the object properties. You can see for my cylinder we have a very smaller one, but when I have my rectangle, my box rather, placed on the workspace, you can see I even have more options to work with here. So I can adjust the radius of my shape. You can see, let me fit to view so that I can see the effect of every change that I make. I'll reduce the radius back to 0, and then I will increase the radius. You can see that you can see the changes that is being made on the object, right? After doing that, I can also increase the steps, right? You can see the steps. Let me increase the radius a little bit, and then let me increase the steps let me increase the step and then reduce the step so that I can see the effect of what's being created here. You can see the steps. I can increase the length, I can reduce the length, I can increase the width, I can reduce the width if I want to do that from here, right? I can do all those from here, or I can also increase the height of my object. For all I'm doing is from this object property panel, and it's different. I'll delete this object, go back again to my fit to view again, my cylinder, and then let's go ahead. You can see that if I increase the side, you can see the sides that are increasing here on my cylinder. I can go ahead to bevel my cylinder here. Then I go ahead to bevel my cylinder, you can see the changes there. I can also decide to segment my bevel as well. Can you see that? So that's that about creating 3D models. Just with simple shapes that have been created, you can you can navigate around your workspace and then duplicate your designs and create even fantastic models from them. This way you are able to work with simple models. You are able to work with simple models, working with simple models, yet creating fantastic 3D designs. So I'm going to align these two very quickly. I'll align these two to center, and then I'll rotate this cylinder here. I'm not teaching you what I'm doing, I'm just doing something very simple just to show you the power of creativity. You creating your design at fresh, right? You just creating your design concept and then working with TinkerCAD to give you the 3D feel that you are looking for in your model. So I'll go ahead to align this object that I've created here, and you will tell me what this object is all about just from your own view. I'm not really creating anything superb here, just something very light. All right, so I'll select these two guys, I'll select these two guys. I can make them relatively white, right? And I can make this something around black, right? Let's put this around black. So you can tell me what this is, and it does not mean anything to you, doesn't matter, right? But we can see from simple design, simple basic shape, we are able to create different 3D models. So this is all about the workspace. So I won't end a tour of this workspace without talking about this guy here, which is what the settings command. Everything that we have here is for the grid. If I decide to go to the settings command, I can adjust my grid from here. Can you see show grid? I can decide to show my grid or not show my grid. If I go to cancel, if I go ahead to settings, I can decide to what? Show grid. I can turn it off. Immediately I do that, I can do what? Make default, and then I can close. Are you with me? Or I can go back to that same settings, make sure my what show grid is on or whatever. I can also make sure that I can do the settings here. If I'm trying to work on millimeters, I go to millimeters. If I'm trying to work on inches, I go to what? Inches. Immediately I change my TinkerCAD default. If I want to change the size, I can go to this printer size. Immediately I go to what? This printer size, I click on what? Cancel. It adjusts accordingly. I can go ahead to go, okay, I can go ahead to go to what? Another TinkerCAD view. Go to what? Another size here. I click on what? Set as default. I click on close. Can you see that the workspace is changing accordingly? Is it working or is not working? Default view is millimeters. I want to what? Set this to what? Micro. And then what do I want to do? I want to click on right. Go back to home view. Select everything that I have here. Let's delete it so that you can see exactly what is happening. On these settings, you can increase your grid or reduce your grid. So you can see that we can show grid, we can what? Show shadow. Why is this not working? If I turn off the grid and then go ahead to what? Increase the size. Okay, let's show the grid. It's very important. Let's show the grid. Let's show the shadow. Let me go back to my TinkerCAD. Let me go back to my TinkerCAD and then change from here. Let's add this printer here. Immediately I do that, you can see that there's a measurement that shows up here. I can go ahead to click on what? Make default. When I click on make default, do I have to close this guy? And then you can see that the workspace adjusts accordingly. If I go ahead again to the settings and then I go back to select another printer that I have here, I go ahead to what? Select the printer and I go to what? Cancel. You can see that my workspace adjusts accordingly. Well, this is a way to what? Set my workspace size, or I go back again to my settings to restore the default by simply going to millimeters and then going back to what? TinkerCAD itself. Or I can even enter a measurement that I have in mind. If I have a measurement in mind, let's say 700, let's say Ctrl A, 700. I click on tab to jump to the next tab, and then 700 by what? Let's say 700 by 300, right? And I click on make default and I click on what? Close here, and then you can see that the workspace can be very big as well. I think the maximum is 1000 the last time I checked. 1000, right? So but you can see that we can adjust our workspace and then TinkerCAD works just perfectly, right? So this is all about the introduction into the TinkerCAD workspace. We'll start diving into what? Creating. How do we even go ahead to what? Working with these different basic 3D shapes, and then now creating our fantastic designs from them. How do we do that? We are going to be doing that in the next class. Today, this is just all about the tour of the workspace and then showing you some sample drawings that we've done on TinkerCAD. So with that being said, I'll see you again in the next class. If you want me to go ahead to what? Start creating 3D models on TinkerCAD, please go down to the comment section and then drop that for me on the comment section, and then we can start working on what? Creating 3D designs on TinkerCAD. Are you with me? So if you would like us to go into what? Learning the basics of what? Working with 3D modeling and then working with these 3D shapes and then creating complex designs from them, working with them to create complex 3D models from them, like the likes of what we have here, and then even more fantastic design than this. We can what? Start working on that. We can start working on that. Just go to the comment section and let me know in the comment section, and then we will start planning on a training, a structured class, starting from the very basics and then taking you to the advanced section of what? TinkerCAD. If you are with me, That's all from my own end. This is Green Illustration Studios. We are here to share the creativity behind the creative process behind creative designs. And then this is all I have to share with you today. See you in the next video. Thank you.